How's it going, everybody? It's Warren. Welcome back to my channel. There are certainly a lot of really exciting things happening in the MCU right now. Phase 4 is right around the corner with Black Widow coming out in May, and we've even gotten a trailer for 3 out of the 5 Disney Plus shows that are going to be a part of Phase 4 as well. But outside of the MCU, Sony also has a lot of upcoming exciting projects that have to do with Marvel characters. We have Morbius coming up that of course is going to tie directly into Spider-Man Far From Home, and of course Venom 2 is coming out as well. But Venom 2, possibly having Spider-Man cameo in the movie, may not be his only tie-in to the MCU. In fact, it seems like Venom's fate seems to be tied into Thor's fate, and they're actually connected by a character who has been reported to be the main villain of Thor Love and Thunder. Now, for those of you who may look at the title and say, Venom in Thor 4 can never happen. Yes, it can. Especially with all of the Sony Marvel deals that have been going on lately. The Sony universe crossing over into the Spider-Man universe of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and vice versa. We saw Spider-Man in the Morbius trailer. And even though it is the Sam Raimi suit that we see in this photo, it does say murderer over it, so it is the same Spider-Man from Spider-Man Far From Home. And for those of you who may be unaware, the Venom symbiote actually has a deep history with the Asgardians, particularly with Thor. In fact, Marvel has already done the story before in the comics, connecting Thor and Venom in a very epic way. So I'll go over the complete story of Thor and Venom and talk about how the Venom symbiote could end up in Thor Love and Thunder in a very real way. If you're new, be sure to subscribe to my channel with notifications turned on for your chance to win an Xbox One or a PS4. I'm picking a winner at 550,000 subscribers. To understand how Venom could connect to and appear in Thor Love and Thunder, you have to know about a character named Knull. Knull is a very ancient being that predates the birth of the universe. Not only is he this ancient being, but he is also the creator of the very first symbiote. And of course, this is a being that Venom has run into and that Thor has a major connection to. At one point in time, Eddie Brock wants to learn more about the Venom symbiote, and due to some certain circumstances, he ends up discovering who Knull is. At one point in time, a Clintar dragon ends up attacking New York City, and Venom works together with Spider-Man, the Miles Morales Spider-Man, to team up and take it down. They then find out that the dragon is being held captive by S.H.I.E.L.D., who used to experiment with symbiote soldiers during the Vietnam War. However, S.H.I.E.L.D. ends up disbanding and the dragon escapes. Venom tries to take it down, and it seems like he does, but only temporarily. And he finds out that it's actually a symbiote controlling the dragon, a being called Knull, the god of the symbiotes. It's here where we learn a little bit about Knull's backstory. We learned that Knull inhabited the darkness before the Big Bang, and when the universe did burst into existence, his first act was to kill a Celestial, and he succeeded. Now, in this body of the dead Celestial, Knull forged a fire and he made the form of the first symbiote in the shape of a blade called the All Black. The extreme heat of the Celestial flame and the noise that the hammer made beating the blade, forging it into its form and shape, are the reasons why symbiotes today, like Venom and Carnage, are hurt by fire and loud, painful noises. So in a sense, this is the origin of their weakness as well. Knull coated himself in his new symbiote skin and took his newly forged blade and carved his way through the light that invaded his old dark universe. And it is here where the weapon took on a new name, the all-black Necro Sword, also widely known as the Godslayer Sword. Now, if the all-black Necro Sword, aka Godslayer Sword, sounds familiar, it's because it comes from a Thor villain, Gorr. Now, Gorr has been reported by some and is widely anticipated to be the villain of Thor Love and Thunder, although nothing is confirmed right now. But this is Thor's connection to the Venom symbiote. In the comic run Thor God of Thunder, Thor finds out that some of the gods are disappearing throughout the universe, so naturally he goes to investigate why. He learns that there's a being out there that is responsible for killing these gods, and he soon finds himself face to face with Gorr. And when he finally comes face to face with Gorr, he finds that he has the all-black Necro Sword. Now, Gorr has a pretty sad and tragic story. He lost his mother, his father, his wife, and his children. And due to this, he said that the gods must not be real, because if they were real, how could they let this happen? But the race that Gorr belonged to were God-fearing beings who did believe in the gods, so when Gorr said that he didn't believe in them, they cast him out and exiled him. It's at this point when he is exiled and leaving his home where Knull, the god of the symbiotes, falls from the sky. It's revealed that Knull was in a battle with a golden god when they both fell from the heavens towards a planet with no name. As Knull and this other god lay on the floor dying, Gorr comes across them and he thinks that they're the god of his world. Thinking that they're the gods of his personal world, he curses them for not being there for him and his family. As Knull laid on the floor dying, his symbiote, the all-black Necrosword, transferred to Gorr, and Gorr the God Butcher was born. Having found out that the gods were real and didn't actually help people like himself that needed help, he set out and swore to kill all of the gods in the universe. And that's where he runs into Thor, with the very first symbiote on his hand, the all-black Necrosword. And this is how Venom could tie into Thor Love and Thunder. Now, a few of these events that happened in the comics have actually already kind of happened in the MCU, and they're actually pretty easy to examine. For starters, Eddie Brock and the Venom symbiote run into Knull when Eddie first wants to learn more about the symbiote Venom. And this is something that is definitely going to happen, most likely in Venom 2. In Venom, the Venom symbiote took Eddie by surprise, as well as it would anybody who had a random alien attached to them.
Stunning. Now, let's bite all the heads off and pile them up in the corner.
Why would we do that?
So it's most likely that Eddie's going to learn just a little bit more about Venom and where he comes from in Venom 2. And perhaps there may even be a little mention of Knull. Then there's the fact that Venom runs into the dragon that Knull was controlling the whole entire time after S.H.I.E.L.D. is no more. Well, right now in the MCU, S.H.I.E.L.D. is no more. Instead, S.W.O.R.D. has been set up, and this is officially confirmed by the post-credit scene in Spider-Man Far From Home, and not to mention some leaked photos that we got from the WandaVision series. Now, S.W.O.R.D. stands for Sentient World Observation and Response Department. They're a counter-terrorism and intelligence agency whose main purpose is to deal with extraterrestrial threats to the world. And it kind of seems like a bunch of alien symbiotes coming to the Earth, threatening the Earth, would probably be on their radar. And we know S.W.O.R.D. is going to be a pretty big part in the WandaVision series, so perhaps S.W.O.R.D. could even run into some symbiotes then. And then there's the fact that Knull inhabited the darkness before the Big Bang. Then the Big Bang happened and our universe burst into existence. And this is something that was actually very specifically mentioned in Guardians of the Galaxy. The Collector talks about before the universe existed, there were singularities, and then the universe burst into existence. And these singularities transferred over to our new universe, mostly being the Infinity Stones.
Creation itself, there were 6 singularities. Then the universe exploded into existence, and the remnants of these systems were forged into concentrated ingots.
This is exactly how Knull came into existence in the new universe. So perhaps in the MCU, maybe more than 6 singularities moved over to the new universe. And this is how he could have came into our universe, but remember the first thing that he did when he came to our universe. He killed a Celestial. He then formed the all-black Necrosword and first symbiote inside of this Celestial. Well, we have seen the dismembered head of a Celestial in Guardians of the Galaxy. That head is actually referred to as the place Nowhere. This Celestial god had to die somehow. Somebody would have had to cut its head off. Could it be possible that it was Knull? Could this be the Celestial that he first killed when he entered the main universe that the MCU exists in? From here, inside of the Celestial, he would forge the all-black Necrosword. And once he made the sword, from there he would cut through the light that entered his dimension, possibly cutting the head of the Celestial, which ends up being Nowhere at the same time. Then eventually going on to fight other gods in this newly formed universe until eventually fighting the Golden God. From there he would fight to a standstill with this god and fall on a planet. And this planet would be a planet that Gorr, the God Killer, would be on, where he would receive the symbiote and the all-black Necrosword. And from there Gorr would go on to hunt gods. And if that is indeed what has happened in the MCU, then Gorr is definitely going to be running into Thor, and probably soon. And this is how the Venom symbiote could connect to Thor Love and Thunder. And it's even possible that we could see that very first symbiote, the all-black Necrosword, appear in the movie as well. Currently, there are rumors and reports stating that Gorr is indeed going to be the main villain of Thor Love and Thunder, and it's even been said that Christian Bale, because we know that he's been cast for a role in the movie, is going to be playing Gorr. It makes perfect sense because Christian Bale has already stated that he doesn't want to come on to do a movie that he's going to have to play a character for 3, 4, 5 different movies. And it's been stated that he's going to be the villain of the movie, and as much as we would love for him to be Beta Ray Bill, Adam Warlock, or the Silver Surfer, it seems like those characters are going to be in the MCU for at least 1 or 2 films. So Gorr is the most likely option that Marvel is going to go with. And if that ends up being the case and he does possess the all-black Necrosword, then a symbiote will definitely be in Thor Love and Thunder. And depending on a deal that Sony and Marvel could work out, they could tie this directly in with Venom. Marvel and Sony know that a lot of people want to see Venom in the MCU, especially if they are planning for the Sinister Six to be a part of the MCU. It would be foolish not to use Venom for this storyline. So as you can see, it's very possible and quite easy to tie Venom and the symbiotes into Thor Love and Thunder. And it seems like the MCU could have possibly been setting this up for a pretty long time now. But let me know what you think about this. Would you like to see the all-black Necrosword and first symbiote be in Thor Love and Thunder and have a connection to Venom? Leave your thoughts about this in the comments down below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to stay up to date on everything relating to the MCU, and so you can enter my giveaway for a chance to win an Xbox One or a PS4. As always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.